What's good, people? Welcome back to another video on that FPL. Before we start today's video, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the content that we're going to be bringing out. All things football, Premier League, Champions League, Europa League, World Cup when it eventually happens. And leave a like if you enjoyed the video. It's greatly appreciated. Leave a comment down below letting us know who you think's going to finish top 4. And let's just get straight into it. Rod, how you doing, mate?
I'm feeling good, mate. Got my fresh trim, so lock those doors away, people.
I know, you look slightly less ugly today, Rod. It's a bit weird.
I'm a 3 on a good day.
All right, and let's get into this FPL talk then, Rod, because, I mean, I haven't actually been playing for the last few weeks. I've been doing a show with you just because of you, to be honest, because you're still leading the race, trying to, represent the boys in the world, get as high as the rank as you can. But I didn't play, and I got 71 points this week. And I'm actually really happy with that, because then I saw yours, Rod, and you only got 67. I'm outscoring you without even playing.
Mate, it was one of those. I captained. It was going to go one or two ways. With Spurs being the first game of the week, it could either get off to a fly or get off to a stink. I was in London at the time, so I only checked the scores in the evening, and I saw that Spurs lost 1-0, and that means obviously Son didn't score any points. He got me 6 points as captain, so I needed the rest of my players to bring it up. A few of them scored. I mean, Saka, he didn't really give me any ranks because everyone has him. Salah, most people have him, but obviously you got the Shark, Cancelo. But it was all right, 67 points. Red arrow from 53k to 59.5. But we're still in the top 100k, so hopefully we can continue that. And obviously I've made some big changes coming into this next game week. Chelsea haven't, obviously their announced game week. I brought in Mason Mount for Gordon, and I brought in Werner for Kane, bringing some differentials. I'm currently between Salah and Mount for captain, but I think it's going to go down to the wire, and if I have any bevs tonight, I guess that will decide it. But yeah.
Yeah, man, those decisions are really hard at this point of the season. Like, for me, I got nothing to play for. I'm just leaving the boys out there. But for you, man, you're trying to get as high as the rank as you can, and you're doing really well so far this season. Really proud of you, Rod. But yeah, man, you're just looking for players basically now who are different to everyone else, so you can increase your rank.
Essentially, I need to try and go away from the people who are mainly selected. So I'm going to be looking to get rid of Saka, but I mean, the negative of that is if you bring in a player, he doesn't do well yet. The player you brought out does, then you're going to take hits. But at this point in the season, so long as I don't concede in my mini leagues, I'm happy. But I'm going to do some changes. Obviously, I've got a few differentials in there in Matip, Shah, Werner, etc. So hopefully I can fire myself up the rankings. But main focus as a manager is on those mini leagues, which I'm currently first in the main ones.
As a gaffer. But yeah, Rod, I do follow you on Twitter, and for some reason, I don't know what's been going on in fantasy, but all I see is you posting Captain Thomas Partey. What is Thomas Partey all about, son? I don't understand.
So running joke, so FPL tactician Andy Martin he's basically been on for a few weeks. He hasn't had Salah in his team, and he's been backing Thomas Partey because Partey's outscored Salah in the last few weeks. So then, obviously, after Salah got his huge haul a few days ago, I messaged him saying about Thomas Partey, and he didn't reply. So I think he's going to bring Salah in fairly soon.
You got blanked, Rod. It is what it is. But yeah, man, it's really hard, I think, to pick at the moment in terms of fantasy players. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are just so inconsistent in this league. I think the most consistent teams you got to be looking at is City, Liverpool, and Newcastle. Who would have thought we'd be saying that at the start of the season? But yeah, it's really nuts at the moment. I want to talk top 4 with you. I mean, for a while now, it's been, I've been saying United have been out of it, but now they are well and truly out of it. And the difference is only 3 points. But I'm telling you right now, there's no chance. I want us to do a tank like it's fucking NBA, man. I'll be going to those players right now. I bring in David De Gea and Ronaldo. I'll go, look, you lads, you've been our 2 best players this season. If you want to end the season now and go on holiday, that's completely fine. I bring in Mata and Matic for their service to the club. And I'll go, if you want to end the season now and go on holiday, you can. But then the rest of them, I'm playing the fucking kids, because these lot have done my fucking head in, Rod. I've never seen a bunch of players not like, I don't even know how to put it into words, but every United game I go into now, it's like I don't even have hope. and that's the worst thing. It would be fine if I didn't think we was going to win the game, but it's been like I haven't thought that we're even going to play good for 5 minutes in any of these games. It's been shit. We played Norwich and we squeaked out a result 3-2 single-handedly. Ronaldo did his job, as did Tim Krul. And we got lucky as well because Pookie, the best movement in the Premier League, is what I've always said. He should have scored again. But we got through that with by the skin of our teeth. Went to Anfield and played like twats and got absolutely dicked. What are you making of United, Rod?
Mate, I watched the highlights of that Norwich game and I looked at the stats. Norwich did have a higher XG as well, but it was obviously a mistake from Gibson, gave Ronaldo a goal. Then it was a good header. And then personally, the free kick
Was world class.
Bless me. Should have been saved. So masterclass, I guess, from Ronaldo. Yeah. Narrowly getting those 3 points, and then obviously he took advantage of Arsenal and Spurs losing. And then that Liverpool performance was abysmal. They tore you apart, and I think everyone could see it. But then obviously the history of this game, it's a well-established game. It's always this bit of rivalry, but aggregate of like 9-0 over the two fixtures. It's embarrassing, and
yeah,
I mean, it's in the thumbnail. It's just Bottlejobs.
Yeah, Bottlejobs all around the top four. But, you know, in terms of United now, finally got Ten Hag announced the other day. I'm happy with that, to be honest. The most surprising thing with me was just Rangnick coming out to the press and just being so bold. He was like, yeah, and we're going to be going for a rebuild. It's not going to be like 1, 2 or 3 players. It's going to be like 9 or 10 players coming in the door. So I guess, you know, that's to look forward to. But to be honest, I'm so down and out with United. Certain players have done my head in. I know Harry Maguire's getting a lot of the stick, as he should, because he's fucking dog shit. But I think he is being kind of... Even though he's shit, and I know how shit he is, he's getting all the blame when it's not just him. There are other players. I'm not saying that he hasn't been at fault for most of our goals this season. He has. But there's other players who aren't putting the effort in as well. And... yeah, the news about the bomb threat thing with Harry Maguire, that's not nice. I mean, to be honest, I don't really like him. He seems like a bit of a cunt to me. Like the way he comes out and goes, well, if I was playing bad, I wouldn't be playing every game for United. Well, you would, because they're fucking shit. And, mate, sorry, he's done my head in, right? But it's not just him. The bomb threat stuff's, you know, over the top. You can criticise him for his performance, but that's about all. But moving on from United, we go to Arsenal and Tottenham. Both teams had a chance this week to really pull away, but neither of them want to do it because they are also part of Team Bottlejob, Jelly Babies FC. Rod, what do you think?
I mean, this is where the winning mentality comes in, and this is where I feel like Conte will probably just surpass Arsenal. Arsenal, young squad, they haven't got the winning mentality in there, although they did get a huge result the other day against Chelsea, but then before that, they couldn't win. So it's no one seems to want that top four enough, and results they've been flying all over the place, and no one's actually really gained any ground. But obviously Arsenal Man United tomorrow 12:30. So obviously we're recording on the Friday. The game is at Saturday 12:30. Huge game. I mean, do I say it if United do win? Have they got a chance at top four?
We're not getting the top four right now. We're out, Rod. I'm telling you, we're not going to beat Arsenal. We're not. We don't want it. That's the reason. Arsenal want it more than we do.
I look at the Arsenal squad. To be fair, I said it in the Chelsea game. I looked at it and I was like, they're going to get walloped, and they managed to come out 4-2. Abysmal from Chelsea defending, but they still managed to win. But Arsenal, I'm just not convinced. I don't feel like they have the mentality of the players in there to just want that top four enough, because inexperience is going to creep in. We've got 6-7 games to go. Like, every point now is crucial, and yeah, I'm still sticking with Tottenham getting that top four, and especially they've got an 8+ goal difference on Arsenal. I think that could prove very important come game week 37, game week 38. But Arsenal, I'm not convinced, although plaudits to them, they did manage to grind out a performance at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, sorry, I just dropped my thing, but we get back into it anyway. But yeah, like you were saying, I actually think the fixtures coming up for both sides aren't easy. I think Brentford have been decent as of late. And, you know, I think the United game for Arsenal might actually be easier than the Brentford game for Spurs. You know, but it's hard to watch at the moment. I think, like you said, though, I think the goal difference kind of shows you the reality that I think Spurs are a much more dangerous side. I know Arsenal got a good result against Chelsea the other day, but they haven't been at the races for ages. I think Tuchel's starting to lose his fucking mind. What's your excuse for this game, Tuchel? And he's like, Stamford Bridge, bad pitch. I mean, it's a fucking Premier League ground. What the fuck is he on about?
I think I must say though, obviously I brought in Werner and Mount. They have really impressed me, and I think that game against Arsenal it just came down to just horrific defending. Malang Sarr had a shocker. Obviously Christensen gave it to Nketiah early on. I think it was just individual errors cost them. I thought they played quite completely honest. So yeah, Chelsea they're in a weird position. Like top four's basically secured. They're out of the Champions League. They can still win the FA Cup. So I mean, they're in a bit of a weird predicament. Obviously, they didn't want to concede that third place with Arsenal and Tottenham on their tails, behind them by 5 points. But yeah, I mean, Chelsea just in a weird predicament. They're almost, I think they're being bought out by this American consortium. So I'm sure we'll have something to say on that later on in the year.
Yeah, we will talk about that later on in the year. I heard some people involved with it. Am I right in saying it's like Serena Williams and Lewis Hamilton or something like that are involved with it? I don't know, but
I'm completely honest, mate. I'm not overly sure. I'll read more about it when it's confirmed. But yeah,
I could be completely off on that if I am. I just heard a bit of the F1 press conference and I thought that's what they was talking about. But anyway, let's go on to the top of the table, Rod. Liverpool, obviously they had the draw with City, but now picking up a win against, who did they play again?
Liverpool played Man United, didn't they?
Oh, fucking, of course. So I think a lot of Liverpool fans going into the game I saw online actually were like, I saw this one guy and he's like, I'm not confident, man. I know they're shit, but you know, it's just the sort of game. And I mean, United went there to park the bus, but failed within like the first 10 minutes. It was shocking. Great result for them, and you know they put a lot of pressure on City, who looked like they were going to struggle, but they did actually get the result in the end over Brighton. I think was it Phil Foden who scored in that game? It's 2-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, Foden scored, Bernardo Silva scored, and Mahrez scored.
Oh, 3-0. Yeah. So a good result for City, and it stays as it is, and it's kind of been like this for the past while now. I mean, you look at their form; it's almost identical, and it's gonna be down to the wire, in my opinion. I think we move on to relegation, Rod, because that's all left to talk about, really. Sean Dyche was sacked. I'm very disappointed, but at least he didn't get relegated. That's all I care about. Poor Dyche. He didn't deserve that. I mean, Burnley got the win last night. I was very impressed with them. I think it was 2-0 in the end against Southampton. Great goal from the Welsh wizard, Connor Roberts. But yeah, you know, I was impressed by them getting the result. Obviously, Everton got the result as well earlier on. That it was a draw, wasn't it? It was a late comeback. Richarlison, I think, in the 90th odd minute. But this is tight as well down here, Rod. What are your thoughts on the relegation battle?
For me, obviously sacking Dyche, I was a bit shocked. I mean, he's essentially a Burnley legend. He's been there for so long, but I must say in the last 2 games they've showed some real fight, and they've got 6 games to go. They're a point behind Everton. I was really impressed with them against Southampton yesterday. They could have easily won 3 or 4-0. Weghorst missed some big chances. Obviously, they had a goal disallowed. Southampton were abysmal. Similar to where they're just so hot and cold, but nevertheless, plaudits to Burnley. I mean, they have Wolves next, and Everton have Liverpool. So, come the end of the weekend, we could be seeing Burnley above Everton for the first time this year. 1 point separating it, but Everton do have that game in hand. Yeah. But nevertheless, they have got some tough fixtures, Everton. I'm hoping Burnley can pull through.
I mean, just because it feels right. I mean, Everton all of a sudden got that money, started spending it. And Burnley, little old Burnley, Dyche was getting by with fucking scraps. He's been doing with Jay Rodriguez, Chris Wood for fucking ages. But, you know, I'd love to see him stay up, to be honest. I think, like you said, I think the Wolves game is massive for Burnley. I think it is a winnable game, but because of how good Wolves are, not defensively, I guess you could say, they're one of the better defensive sides in the Premier League in terms of goal conceded. I think it's going to be a really tough task for them. But yeah, Rod, I mean, that's basically it already, isn't it? There's not really much to talk about in the world of football at the moment.
I mean, there's been a load of weird results, but at the end of the day, it's come down to the race for the title, top four and bottom three, which I'm sure is going to be a recurring theme in the coming weeks. But it's interesting because I'll talk a little bit about Villa. We've been so inconsistent this year. We've been so hot and cold, and when we win quite courageously, quite well. But we're sitting currently 15th in the table. But if you look at it, the gap between 15th and 9th is 5 points. So it just shows how up for grabs any of the mid-table spots are. And Newcastle, we thought they were basically down before Christmas. They're now sitting comfortably at 11th. So that whole mid-table is it's a weird predicament.
Mate, Newcastle could get into the top 10. That's fucking nuts. They could finish 9th. That would be insane. Yeah, they could finish 9th. Leicester on 41 points. Bro, that would be crazy to think they were like all but gone in January.
I mean, if you look at their form table, 3 wins out of the last 3 is pretty impressive considering how poor they were, and they're on 40 points.
I know a lot of people talk about the money they spent, but I mean, come on, like in terms of the players they actually brought in, they've been without Trippier now for quite a while. I think you got to start putting some credit on Big Man's name. I forgot his fucking name. What's his name, the manager? I can see it's for Eddie Howe, yeah. Fucking hell, man. The guy deserves some credit. There was a reason he was linked with Arsenal on the England job, and it's not because he's English.
I think, personally, it's a mixture of 2 things. They spent 100 million and good coaching, because Guimaraes in the last few games, he's put in some assists, he's put in some goals, which have proved vital for 3 points. Chris Wood's been a good target man up there. The resurgence of Joel Linton is credit to Eddie Howe, Dan Burn and Matt Targett. They've reinforced that defence. To be completely honest, they've essentially bought a whole new spine, which they had to do. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I'll give plaudits to Eddie Howe as well.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, like the quality of the player, I mean, it's not like Chris Wood is fucking, this big player, and they spent a lot of money on him. But like you said, that game against Leicester, I was so impressed with them to come on late like they did and nick the winner with Guimaraes. I mean, that guy's a player, and his desire to get into the box for that cross, which was deflected to him. But I mean, yeah, I really like Guimaraes at the moment. He's one of my favourite players to watch in the Prem at the moment. It's a shame he didn't get more minutes when he first came in, but you can see that he's going to be a talent for years to come, and if Newcastle can progress to, the European spots, I'm sure he'll be part of that team.
It's just going to be interesting to see. The summer is a big window, but obviously we know financial fair play. Newcastle are going to have to sell players to buy them. It's going to be interesting to see what Eddie Howe does do with them. He's got a good record of spending it on mediocre players, and I mean, he spent 30 million on Chris Wood. So
mate, how much did he spend on the winger from Liverpool?
Solanke and
Jordan Ibe, man. Oh, fucking hell.
So, I mean, it's a big summer for Newcastle. I mean, as a fan, you'd be happy, you'd be excited, looking forward to it. But, I mean, there are teams who are going to spend big this summer. Newcastle, Villa.
I think this Everton, is going to be the highest spent transfer window. I mean, when you hear about, maybe not net-wise, but I think in terms of total money spent in the Premier League, I think it might be the most, because when you hear about a club like United going out and maybe getting up to 10 players, that's fucking crazy. I know Villa are going to spend big because they're going to want to back Lampard. Like you said, Newcastle are going to spend big. I think Leeds are going to have to spend money if they want to stay in this league, because they've proven now that they need to replace some of these dead end players, to be fair.
Yeah, you make a very good point. I think the spending is going to be huge, and that will just boost the quality of the Premier League. It's going to be more difficult to get them positions next year. But like you said, teams need a lot, especially United, need a complete new rebuild. So, 8, 9, 10 players, etc.
Yeah, I'm looking at the likes of Brighton as well. Maybe they won't spend big money, but they're going to have to spend money to bring in some sort of quality up front. I mean, you look at every single team in that bottom 10, probably from 17th up to 8th place, they're going to have to spend money to improve. And, I wouldn't be surprised if City look like they're going to get Haaland as well.
They have got him.
Liverpool are going to have to strengthen to counteract that. I think Chelsea are going to be looking to probably bring in another fucking striker and a defender with Rudiger going. I think it's going to be a really high spending summer. I think it's going to be really interesting as well because next season we got that break for the World Cup. And, you know, when players, you know, someone's going to get injured at the World Cup. I think you're going to see people have to dive into the January market as well. So I think it's going to be a real crazy season next year.
You make a good point there about Chelsea. I'm obviously not too sure what they're going to do with Lukaku. I think it looked like Werner is off. He's done quite well recently. Christensen's basically going to Barca. It's been announced.
Rudiger's contract's running out.
Yeah, Rudiger's almost definitely going as well. Thiago Silva's getting older. So there's going to be a lot of spending, and it's going to be interesting to see who people bring in, but especially City. Obviously, they couldn't get Kane last year and said they've gone and got Haaland for, I think it was about £60 million, 75 million euros.
It's like dealing with the devil, though, isn't it? With fucking Raiola. Oh, my God. I mean...
Oh, yeah. He wanted a ridiculous bonus of like £60 million as well. So
would you be surprised if Pep went and got Pogba?
I don't think he's a Pep player.
Neither do I just feel like it because he's working because Raiola's gone with fucking with Haaland to City. I don't know. It's going to be a crazy one.
Raiola's recruiting new scouts or agents because I'd love to be one.
Fucking what do you call him? I think it's going to be big for United as well. Who do you think Darwin Núñez is going to go to? This kid seems to be on fucking fire. And
yeah, I was talking to my friend who supports Brighton, and they were in for him last summer. I think they wanted to pay like 18, 19 mil. They didn't want to fork up. I think it was like 25 mil then or something.
He's like
and
50,
now he's
60
now. Yeah, he's been rumoured to be around that now, and I don't see him coming to the Premier League. If he was to come to the Premier League, I wouldn't be surprised if he did go to an Arsenal or Man United, but I don't think he will be coming to the Premier League. It's hard. He's a young lad. He needs nurturing. So I don't know. That's what I'm saying. We've got Ten Hag in the Premier League. Pep.
I'd love to see United get some talent from Ajax, but we'll have to wait and see. Who are Villa linked with anyone before we go on to our predictions for the weekend?
I think we're trying to finalise the Coutinho contract. Obviously, I don't think Villa are too sure about paying the money for him because of his wages are pretty extortionate. Newcastle are sniffing around saying they'll pay any. I would love to see Coutinho at Villa permanently, but I mean, let's wait and see.
I was watching this Villa fan online the other night, and he was talking about it. He goes, "Oh, I love Felipe Coutinho, but it's just the life of a Villa fan that the likelihood is that he just won't sign. We'll fall in love with him and then he won't sign."
He's completely right. He's a player of Coutinho's class. He's going to have a lot of suitors. He's a very good player. So just the one thing I have learned is never fall in love with a lone player. I did it with Tammy Abraham.
Did it with Radamel Falcao.
Yeah, it's just lone players, man. They break your heart.
To be fair, we fell in love with Radamel Falcao and he was fucking dog shit. So, do you know what I mean?
Radamel Falcao.
No. Yeah, go on.
I guess let's get on to the fixtures then, I guess.
Yeah, mate, let's fucking do it. I think, is it a double game week this week? I'm pretty sure it is, right?
Chelsea.
So we got Champions League as well this week coming up, right?
We have actually. It's a good point. Yeah, we do.
I can't wait for that. We'll do a video as well, guys, after the semi-finals. Both legs are done, and me and Rod will talk through the fixtures as well. Arsenal versus United. Don't back the early kickoff, but if I was you, I'd be bringing in Lacazette right now. I think this is going to be a fucking mare. But then again, do you think maybe we'll see a United bounce, knowing that they got to impress Ten Hag?
I think we'll see an Nketiah bounce. For United players, their egos are too big. I don't feel like this will even change anything until he's in the door managing them day to day. Because on the touchline they'll see Ranić, and for me their egos are just far too big. Arsenal being at home will probably give them a slight advantage, but I'm going to go 2-2. Yeah,
you made a good point. To be fair, Ranić came in, he got a bounce for about 30 minutes against Crystal Palace, and that was it. But we were incredible for that 30 minutes when we were pressing in that 4-2-2. But yeah, what did you say, 2-1?
2-2.
2-2. I'm going to go with an Arsenal win. I'm going to go 3-1 Arsenal. I think United might even score first and then just bottle it. But yeah, Leicester against Villa, Rod. I think this is a kind of a bit of a dead game because Leicester have been shit lately, as have you. How do you see this one going?
I mean, obviously Leicester, they're playing on Thursday against, I think it's Roma. So I mean, they're going to have basically all eyes on that, with maybe half an eye on the Villa game. They don't want to get injured. They want to play the big games, and playing Roma, it's a huge game for them. Villa, we've been abysmal. We're either good in the first half or good in the second. I don't think we managed a full 90 minutes performance yet.
Yeah, man.
Gonna go 2-1 Leicester, mate. I can't, to be, as a Villa fan, I just want the season to be over.
I want the season to be over too. I can't wait for it to be done. I just love the Champions League at the moment. I'm gonna go Villa win 3-1. City against Watford, Rod.
There's only one result here, really. Watford, for me, like looking at the table,
You're right.
they're,
Roy Hodgson, he's gonna do it for the Scousers.
they're on 22 points. They're 7. They need 7 to get out of the relegation zone. I can't see it happening, and I just see City battering them here. But City, obviously, Champions League midweek. They also don't want to get injured, but Watford are a poor side, so I'm going to go comfortable 2-0. But there will be a lot of rotation, I feel.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. But then again, Watford did get 4 points against United. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with City. City 5-0. With a lot of rotation as well. I think you might see someone like Palmer come in for him. I know he's a good player. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Norwich against Newcastle, I think it's a shit game as well. I think Newcastle will just run over them. I think they're really good on the break now. I think when St. Maximin can get, it's not even all about him with his pacing behind. I think the fact that he brings so many players towards him, as soon as he gets the ball, it leaves a lot of space for other players. So yeah, I'll go with Newcastle like 3-1 win.
Okay, this is a vintage 3 o'clock kickoff game, but I am going to go over Norwich 2-1 win. I feel they've got a bit of momentum from playing well the last couple games. Newcastle away from home aren't as good, but I'm going to go 2-1. 2-1 Norwich. I like an underdog.
You love a bit of Dean Smith, you. Brentford against Spurs. I'm going to go straight up right now. I'm going to go Brentford to win this 2-1.
Oh, Brentford at home, they've been quite solid. Spurs need a result here.
Do you know who does it? Ericsson does it, and then he runs up to the Spurs end.
And Adebayor. I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Brighton against Southampton. I think Brighton take it, to be honest. I haven't seen Southampton this poor in a while. I feel quite sorry for James Ward-Prowse. I think he is actually one of the, maybe he's not elite level, but I think he's not too far like underneath that. I think you've got elite level, really good, and then like maybe just almost really good. I think James Ward-Prowse is in that like sort of third tier. He should be definitely in the England squad, and it's not helping his chances playing with a Southampton team like this. I mean, even the other night, his free kick against Pope was so close as well, and I just rate him so highly. I feel very bad for him, but I'm going to go with a Brighton 3-0 win.
Obviously, yeah, you make a good point about James Ward-Prowse. Villa were in for him last summer.
That would have been such a good move as well.
They wanted an extra 10 million. I don't think Villa were willing. I think they wanted 50 and we were given 40 or something. I can see Hasenhüttl being sacked in the summer, to be completely honest with you. Southampton, they've just been abysmal this year at points. And, I mean, they have got some good results. I mean, Spurs a few months ago and other ones, but they've been more cold than hot. But I'm going to go over Brighton 1-0 win here. It's going to be a boring game.
Has Broja been injured?
No, Broja's played almost every game, but he's just been non-existent.
Was he playing last night? Because I honestly can't remember him playing. Like,
He had 90 minutes last night.
Fucking hell, like, he's gone into the land of wind and ghosts, mate. I don't know what's happened to him. Burnley against Wolves, I think Burnley are going to struggle to get a result just because of... I think they might get a point. I'm going to go with 0-0.
You make a good point. Wolves' defence, they're very solid. So that's what Wolves are good at. One of the most boring teams to watch in the league, don't get me wrong. But defensively, they are very stellar, and they've got a good keeper in Sarr. But I'm going to go J. Rodriguez 1-0.
Okay. Wait, can I ask you a question? Who's more boring, City or Wolves?
Wolves, purely because City have the better players, so I guess they're a bit more exciting to watch. But Wolves are very negative and boring. And I mean,
I
if
think
that's
you're
where
right.
you get results and that's your philosophy, you go ahead. But as a neutral, I think they're awful to watch.
Yeah, I disagree. I think City are more boring. Wolves, you got a few more surprises in their games. Right, Chelsea against West Ham. I think this is probably one of the biggest games of the weekend. I really think that Chelsea are on this down form. I mean, Stamford Bridge is basically an unplayable stadium right now if you listen to Too Short. I don't know how they're going to get through it. It's like playing in the 1960s. I'm going to go with West Ham to pull a win out. I just don't think Chelsea are firing on all cylinders up front. I think you might see West Ham get a 2-1 win.
West Ham, big game on Thursday, I think, in the Europa League. So
Doesn't matter.
another recurring theme of their players are going to have eyes on that. No one's going to want. I think they can do a bit less running to conserve energy. Chelsea being at home, I think Chelsea will win this too. No, I'm going to go 3-1 Chelsea.
Okay, Liverpool against Everton, Merseyside derby. I'm going to go for the upset. I'm going to go for an Everton win.
Oh, really? This is historically it's a huge game. Derby is always close. But
Yeah, I'm not going with what I really think is going to happen. I'm just going to go with what I want to happen. I think a Liverpool player's going to get a red card. The crowd's going to go quiet after a while because it's getting a bit nervy. When Everton hit him on the break late with Richarlison, and he does the chicken dance on him. But yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. Not really. I just hope it happens.
I'm going to go. There's going to be a lot of rotation, I feel, for Liverpool. But I think they got comfortably win. Everton have been poor this year and they're away. I'm going to go Liverpool 3-0.
Okay. Palace against Leeds. Fucking kill me right now. Monday night football. Who gives a fuck? I'll go Palace 2-0.
This game was actually on a Monday night last year. I remember watching it. And Palace did win because Leeds had their horrific pitch because obviously they were redoing it in the summer. I actually remember that. So I'm going to go the same again, Palace 2-0.
That's sweet. And it ends on Thursday with United against Chelsea. Playing on a better pitch here at Old Trafford for Chelsea, so they might be able to pull a result out here. So I'll go 3-1 Chelsea.
I've got a feeling, I think Ten Hag will be in attendance in this game. Obviously, it's a Thursday. A flight from the Netherlands is under an hour. I see him going, to be honest, to see his new team. I'm going to go Man United 2-1.
You're crazy.
I probably am, to be honest, mate.
I don't know. I will have to wait and see. But thanks for joining me again, Rod.
Always, mate.
Yeah, sweet. If you did make it this far in the video, please leave a like if you enjoyed it. Greatly appreciated. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the upcoming content. And until next time, take care. Ciao, as Rod normally says.